Well, there's Vermin. But I really enjoyed just listening to some of the voices that, like, from a different perspective coming into the Libertarian Party. And you've heard from, I think Patty was one of my favorites. Just get to talk to her. Hey, Vermin, how are you?
Oh, hello there.
Welcome to the party here.
Thank you. Thank you
Hi,
very
we
much.
have you with us.
Um,
And Vermin, are you outside?
Yes, I am. I am in my yard in the woods of Cape Ann, Massachusetts. I live in the woods. It's true. Not only you may have heard people say he looks like some guy who lives in the woods. Absolutely correct.
Well, we were talking earlier. I'm in Houston and Colin's in South Carolina, so I'm currently battening down for Hurricane Laura. So your lovely leafy foliage looks wonderful, my friend.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's still summertime here, and we are still loving it and loving life and living large out here in the woods.
And it looks like we have Desiree joining us as well. Hey, Des.
Des, can you say something real quick so we can test your mic?
Can I what?
There we go.
There you go. And Vermin, were you intending for Mercy to join us as well?
I certainly, if she can, I certainly hope so. Yes. Yes, indeed.
All right. Well,
I'm
Towards the latter
texting her right now.
Towards the latter part of my presentation, she just in the chat, she just said she was having some difficulties, but hopefully by the time it comes around 40 minutes in, that she'll be ready for that.
Okay. Well, my friend, my goal really was to give you free reign tonight. I think that for those who may not know you already, which I think would be few, but for those who may not know you, can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh, well, I am a highly respected political satirist, beloved by millions. I have been conducting a satirical, farcical presidential campaign for over 30 years, and that has given me a level of notoriety and audience and reach that allowed me this year, this particular year, to actually make a legitimate seeming offer to the Libertarian Party of my services as a candidate. Of course, I ultimately wasn't chosen, but there was such a real argument to be made, and so, I think we did a really good job. And of course, I'll be addressing that a little bit during my remarks.
We're so glad to have you. And Desiree, do you want to introduce yourself a little?
Well, I'll be bringing her on in a little bit, I think.
Well, Vermin, today we're celebrating Women's Equality Day. We're celebrating 100 years since we wrote into the Constitution our right to vote. But as we were discussing with some of our earlier speakers, women's issues are everyone's issues. And
Absolutely.
when we talk about the social, the economic, the global impact that women have on our world, we know that you have a unified message of love and respect for all, and that your take on women's issues is really in line with the libertarian principles. So
I believe so, and I believe that all the people who have been working on my campaign and supporting me, and believe that this particular method of communication is indeed important and legitimate and effective. And it has certainly been a privilege and a pleasure to be able to offer my services over the past year, just bringing people in and having people take a second look and having people, members join on my behalf. And it was really a wonderful experience for sure. And I can start anytime you're ready. Obviously, I have 45 minutes of serious content here that I hope to present to you. And so, you know, the sooner we get down to it, I guess, the sooner we can get done with it, perhaps.
the floor is all yours, my friend, and have at it.
All right. Well, thank you. I will be reading from my prepared remarks, of course, because I am a politician, and that's what politicians do. So get ready, people. Hold on tight, because here we go. Hi, everybody! It's me, Vermin Supreme. You know, the guy from the internet, the boot on my head, ran for president. You know, Spike's friend. Now, some may question why Vermin Supreme is capping off this amazing day of women's empowerment in commemoration of their struggles. I was also wondering. I do trust that there was indeed a number of various committee meetings, high-level discussions between the organizers, and that ultimately it was decided that there was value in letting me speak as an ally of women's liberty and liberation. So I will not question this decision, and neither should you. Let's just hope that they were right. First of all, I'd like to thank all the amazing organizers of this fantastic event, Lauren Postler and the People for Liberty organization, in case of Phyllis Schlafly, who is a tireless opponent of the Equal Rights Amendment. Sometimes resistance is simply finding a moment to mock and make your point in a way that gets eyeballs. But sometimes it's a lot more and takes a lot more sacrifice and dedication. The state did not respond peacefully to the women's tactics and incarcerated them in deteriorating conditions for longer periods of time, culminating in an event now known as the Night of Terror. In writing for the Washington Post, Thomas McArdle describes the horrific event as follows. The women were clubbed, beaten, and tortured by the guards at the Occoquan workhouse. The 33 suffragettes from the National Women's Party had been arrested November 10, 1917, while picking outside the White House for the right to vote. The male guards at the Northern Virginia prison manacled the party's co-founder, Lucy Burns, by her hands to the bars above her cell and forced her to stand all night. Dorothy Day, who would later establish the Catholic worker houses, had her arm twisted behind her back and was slammed twice over the back of an iron bench. The guards threw suffragette Dora Lewis into a dark cell and smashed her head against an iron bed, knocking her out. Her cellmate, Alice Kosu, believing Lewis dead, suffered a heart attack and was denied medical care until the next morning. Within 2 weeks of the women's release, they had filed suit, and on November 28th, a court ruled in their favor, stating that even the original arrests had been a violation of their basic rights. News of this state-sponsored violence served to galvanize public support, rally the media, the American people, and even President Wilson himself to finally get to the business of justice. The 19th Amendment was ratified within a year, August 18th, 1920. It is, of course, worth noting that African American women remain disenfranchised for many years and decades to come, and voter suppression continues to this very election in a variety of fashions. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King once said, and what speech would be complete without a Martin Luther King quote, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. But to truly understand this arc, and more importantly, to continue down the long road to justice, one must actually learn, wrestle, and continue the struggle for equality." My campaign this last year was indeed my first real or actual campaign in terms of seeking a nomination. As such, it required a team, a campaign staff, and certainly volunteers. We were able to gain an amazing show of support and supporters from across the libertarian spectrum, and this gave me the opportunity to work with many talented women. I was blessed to be able to share a campaign of love and compassion and mutual aid. And the people who were attracted to this campaign saw the possibilities and shared the vision of such a transformative culture shift. I am thankful to all of my staff and supporters this year during my run for the presidency. And since today is a celebration of women's struggle and achievement, I would like to give some shout outs to some of the Team Supreme who made my run possible. First, I'd like to give a shout out to two of the most important women in my personal life, my dear sweet mother, Marianne, now deceased, who supported and encouraged my anti-authoritarianism and nonconformity and not giving a damn what other people think. A shout out to my wife and partner of 33 years, Becky, who I met on a peace march, whose birthday is on International Women's Day, whose love and tolerance has allowed me to follow this unconventional path for so long. I also want to send out a shout out to my friend Babs, who is without a doubt my longest running handler during the New Hampshire primaries, and has helped watch my back at numerous political demonstrations. And a few of the key women in this year's Team Supreme who definitely made my campaign what it was and what it become. Number one, Ashley Shade. Hi, Ashley. She was our policy director, and her amazing work can be seen on inonthejoke.net. That is still up, and her policy work for this campaign Team Supreme still is there. And she is also currently, as luck would have it, education director for the Vermin Supreme Institute. Thank you, Ashley. I would like to give a shout out to my friend Hap Werther, who many of us knew and dearly miss. She was my first pledged delegate for the 2020 campaign. Thanks, Hap. I'd like to shout out to Shay Palowich, who helped ghostwrite for me and wrote some of the funniest bits on the Vermin Supreme 2020.com site. Check that out. Thank you, Shay. I'd like to recognize Kalish Morrow. She was our California state coordinator and is now running for city council in Hanford, California. Thank you, Kalish. Brianna Coyle, shout out to you. My New York, one of my New York organizers who launched a new libertarian organization, the Golden Quills at Queens College, and brought me out for that grand opening. Thank you very much, Brianna. Fallon Page, shout out, who was a big help on the ground in New Hampshire. She helped us out creating and producing merch. She helped with the podcast, Let This Podcast Run Your Life, another spinoff, helped with the launch of that. Thank you, Fallon. I want to shout out to Chrissy Witchers, media extraordinaire, who helped us organize and win Ohio. Once again, we won Ohio, don't you forget it. And is a badass woman in her own right. And she is currently taking a very public stand in holding leadership accountable and ensuring appropriate behavior towards women in the movement. Thank you, Chrissy. I'd like to shout out to Alex Hammock, who did a lot of amazing work behind the scenes, helping Des keep it all together. An amazing volunteer, tireless. I'd like to shout out to Kim Ruff, who ran for POTUS. She suspended her campaign. She eventually endorsed us long after it was reported that she did. Sorry about that, Kim, but shit like that happens sometimes. But she also worked behind the scenes really hard to help highlight the seriousness behind the boot and ensure that our message had maximum reach. Thank you, Kim. And last but not least, the very woman who reached out and recruited me to run in this Libertarian Party, the very woman who saw the potential to reach the disenfranchised masses through humor, the very woman who guided Team Supreme and brought us further than many would have ever suspected, myself included, than we had ever thought we would have made it all the way to the final ballot. That woman was Desiree Lindsay. Thank you, Desiree. Team Supreme was proud to have so many powerful women on our team. Being a part of the dialogue this year was also an opportunity to advocate for a woman's right to choose during the presidential debates. There were so many debates. Am I right, people? So many libertarian presidential debates. They all had different flavors, lineups, venues, audiences, but they were all fairly similar. However, I do remember in particular this one Zoom debate, which was obviously towards the latter part of the campaign season. It had quite a few candidates participating. I don't recall them all, we'll have to find out. And the question was in regards to abortion. And I was very much surprised that each and every candidate, other than myself, expressed their own personal opposition to this medical procedure. Yes, they paid lip service to the LP Planck, but I was the only candidate who flat out affirmed the right of bodily autonomy for women. I would once again to affirm my belief in women's bodily autonomy and my support for the Libertarian Party abortion plank of the platform. I believe it is indeed the most reasonable compromise. Keep the government out. I oppose those who may and try to delete said plank. I oppose those who attempt to use the government to restrict a woman's reproductive autonomy. And as such, I would also like to once again thank the Pro-Choice Libertarian Caucus for their generous endorsement this year. I was immensely proud of the recent work, and I am which tense am I in? Hold on. I am currently, right now, very proud of the recent work that I have been blessed to be a part of with the Vermin Supreme Institute. What is the Vermin Supreme Institute, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. What we have done is we have added the word institute to the end of my name. The Vermin Supreme Institute, thereby making it sound like a super real legitimate thing. And friends, let me assure you, the Vermin Supreme Institute is a real legitimate thing. It is essentially a spin-off of the campaign team. There were a number of those involved in the campaign team that wanted to continue with this mission, a mission that in of itself was bigger than a political campaign. A mission of sowing love, compassion, and whimsy. And so we brainstormed over how we could continue working together as a group with this focus. And yes, we came up with this solution, the Vermin Supreme Institute. And the mission statement is as follows. Our purpose is to inspire social evolution through the disruption of authoritarianism, to promote compassionate activism, and to spread knowledge of redacted history. Through the use of humor, direct action, and mutual aid, we uplift the disaffected, disenfranchised, and disempowered, and the disenfranchised. Now, what does that mean exactly? Social evolution is the process by which our culture, our nation, and our world move through time and space, advancing, changing, and becoming closer to the vision of equity and humanity that we all strive for. Compassionate activism, the practice of mindful and kindness-centered works of good for the purpose of advancing social evolution. And redacted history rather than the often used term forgotten history, because to unpack and understand our shared history, we have to treat it with tough honesty. The stories of revolutionary feminist activists, of violently unified labor organizers, of radical abolitionists are not forgotten by mere chance. They have been systematically removed and erased from our cultural and educational zeitgeist by reactionary forces to sanitize and whitewash and otherwise tweak the reality of the long struggle for liberty of all peoples. And as such, our first educational, one of our many to come educational productions of the Vermin Supreme Institute, now getting underway, will be the multimedia Woman in Politics series, because we are essentially an educational series, and we certainly want to use our position and our audience and our reach to spread our take and understanding and the context of our various issues that we want to illustrate. And this is the first one. And it is a 3-part series, which we believe many of these issue-oriented presentations will take place. It will be a 3-part series focused on different areas of women in the political realm. The first part will be history, where we will explore the history of women who become political leader or who became political leaders and activists through human history and the role that they played in shaping the political landscape. We will be reviewing the known and the forgotten who helped pioneer our female political world. Part 2 will focus on the present and people's current and living's experiences. And we will interview women from across the political landscape to find out what their experiences have been like actively participating as participants in the political process. We will talk to elected officials, candidates, behind the scenes staff, and all of the in-betweens to find out what it's like being a woman involved in politics today. And the third will be culture and looking towards the future. And in the final piece of the presentation, we will dive into finding ways to improve the culture for women in the political sphere. We'll use humor along with our newfound knowledge to create a culture of positivity, love, compassion, and kindness, and help drive more support for our fearless females. And so, yes, that is just one of the many, but probably the most relevant projects for today that the Vermin Supreme Institute is in the process of making happen. And of course, if you are viewing this program and want to know more, please visit our website, verminsupremeinstitute.org. The Vermin Supreme Institute, the is implied. The actual name is simply Vermin Supreme Institute, no the. But that being said, I would like this opportunity to present to you, if the technology is ready and on the uptake, to switch over to the executive director of the Vermin Supreme Institute, my friend, Desiree Lindsay.
Hey. All right. Thanks, Vermin. That was awesome. Hey, y'all. I'm Desiree Lindsay. I was Vermin's campaign manager this past election cycle. It was a lot of fun. And as he said, we're continuing our work with the Vermin Supreme Institute. Also a lot of fun. I did write something that's a little bit different from what Vermin was saying, and I'm going to share it with y'all. A young woman left an unhappy marriage and decided to take her 2 young children back to her hometown. All she could afford was a bus ticket for them. They began the journey to their better life, but not without adversity at that moment. 3 seats in front of them was a man wielding a knife. All she could think about was the safety of her 2 young kids. Fortunately, they made it unscathed, even though the 3-year-old got stuck in the bathroom and she had to get the entire bus to yell at the bus driver to stop driving and use the key that was on his key ring to let her out and open the door. It's always an adventure. They settled into their new lives. It was a struggle for a young single mother with 2 kids, but there was always a roof. The kids' bellies were always full. And with her limited income, she managed to provide a life for them where they never went without. As the children grew, the mother and daughter had many notable clashes. They were very similar in many ways and very different in others. Arguments were always followed by apologies, hugs, and understanding. The teenage daughter was headstrong like her mother and marched to the beat of her own drum. But the support was always there. When the daughter wanted to play guitar, the mom saved and bought her one, got her lessons. When she wanted to be a vegetarian, the mother always made sure to make separate vegetarian meals for her. When she wanted to go to a protest at the age of 16, the mother drove her there and picked her up. She believed with all her heart, clipping the wings of her daughter, no matter how headstrong and rebellious she was, would be a huge disservice. That mother was my mother. That daughter was me. What I am most grateful for is that my creativity and rebellion were encouraged rather than stifled. I may have taken a meandering path throughout my adult life, but every choice led me exactly where I am today. Continuing down a trail that's been blazed by so many brave women before me, strong women raised strong women. At the age of 42, I can honestly say I have my dream job with a dream team, Team Supreme. We are a culture, we are a family, we are something that is bigger than ourselves. There's so much love and support. The many women who are part of Team Supreme have become my support system, a second family. I keep saying, Today I'm proud to be sharing time with 4 generations of my family. And here are 2 of them right here. My mom, Diane, my niece, Alex, who Vermin mentioned earlier. Hermione, my niece's daughter, is here, but decided to take a nap. My sister-in-law, Jeanette, is also hiding in the house somewhere. But I mean, that's the thing. Strong women raise strong women. My mother raised a strong woman. My sister-in-law, Jeanette, raised a strong woman. And now the new generation is starting, and I could not be prouder of how my niece is with her daughter. We actually call her Revolution Baby. So the thing is, you know, what I definitely want to hear is Jeanette.
There she is.
Say hi to my sister-in-law, Jeanette.
Hello.
Strong women raise strong women. Be subversive, be disruptive, make a lot of noise, keep blazing that trail. I'm proud to be a part of Team Supreme. I'm proud to be a part of the Libertarian Party. I'm proud to be a part of the movement at large, and proud to work with all of you. Is that bad? I see somebody in the background. Anyway, I'm done. Back to you, Vermin.
Becky.
Oh, it's me.
It's Becky. Becky's taking over my show.
Okay. Hi, Becky. It's real life. I'm so not
Not the
used to being
pretend
on
one.
camera. I wasn't surprised.
No, she's never.
This is fantastic. Back to you, Vermin. Great to see you, Becky.
Good to see you, Desiree. That was beautiful. Loving you, sister.
Thank you, Desiree. That was very nice. And of course,
Loving you. Thank you.
I am forever indebted to you for dragging me into this mess. And once again, all you naysayers out there who say, "Why is Vermin Supreme in the Libertarian Party?" It's pretty much because Desiree asked me to run. So there you go.
Oh, wait, one more thing. Desiree, Babs is going to love it. That you thought it was her and you didn't know it was me.
Oh, now it's more like a Zoom call, right, people? Okay. Well, once again, yes, the Vermin Supreme Institute. It's a very serious thing. It's like real, and it's totally respectable. I think. Yeah. Let me get back to this. Let me focus back down here. I was getting got a little disrupted there. Yes, the Vermin Supreme Institute, very respectable, and one of our incredible initiatives out of the many initiatives, because we're sort of crowdsourcing initiatives where we're partnering with various people working on various initiatives, and one of these initiatives is Disrupt the Vote, which once again is a spinoff from my presidential campaign, but we folded it into the Vermin Supreme Institute because we are a 501c4, which means we can do up to 50% partisan political stuff. So we are doing Disrupt the Vote, which is a project which we have designed to offer consultation and resources, media resources, and the like, to anti-duopoly candidates. And so I think that's something that we are very proud of and very excited about. And we have, I believe, we're working with 8 candidates from scattered across the country. And I am very proud to introduce to you, if the technology makes a smooth transition, one of our Disrupt the Vote firebrands who is currently running for a seat in the Nebraska State Legislature, District 37, Mercedes Damertowski.
Mercedes, can you hear us? We have you muted.
Yes, I unmuted myself. Hello
Okay.
from Nebraska. How is everyone today, Vermin?
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you could attend.
Yes, I'm so glad that you had me. Hold on, my notes went black on my laptop. I was so intently listening to you speak that I let it go back to sleep. So hello, my name is Mercedes Damertowski. I'm running for Nebraska State Legislature, District 37 in Kearney, Nebraska. Now, today I'm here to speak to you not about my campaign, but why I am here to campaign. Since it's International Women's Day, I believe, is that what we're calling it?
No.
I don't know. I don't know what day it is.
That's the whole theme.
Women's equality.
That's our date, though.
Hey,
That's
it's
Mark
supposed to
Davis.
be funny, right? So today on Women's Equality Day, I'm here to talk to you about equality. The only reason why I am here today able to even run for office is because of all of the beautiful women who have come before me. All of the women in my family even that have come before me. Now, I'm gonna use this for a brag moment. Mom, if you're watching, hi, I love you. Sorry if I make you cry, because it's your fault I'm here. If you didn't do for me what I would do for Cora, I would not be sitting here right now today, so thank you. Brag moment for her. She just graduated with her law degree. She had me when she was 16 years old in 1990. I turned 30 this year. My mother, the high school pregnant chick who was asked to drop out, had a choice. My grandmother had a choice. When having me, my grandmother gave her 3 choices: adoption, abortion, or to keep me. Because of the position my mother was born into and because of my grandparents' love, she was able to keep me and raise me and keep breaking the cycle in which our family suffered for to be able to put me where I am today. If it was not for my mother and the love she gave me despite all the fighting we did, I would not be here today, the woman I am, raising the daughter I have. So thank you, Mom. I'm sorry that you're crying now, and I love you very much. Now, back to why I'm here disrupting the vote. As a libertarian candidate in Nebraska, running in a nonpartisan race, it's very important for me to have equality. Nebraska's state motto is equality above and before the law. On our state flag, it says equality before the law. Now, my motto is equality before the law so that we can have the good life for all of y'all. Now, Nebraska used to go by the good life for all until we had outsiders come in to change that. And that's why I'm here today, to save and maintain the quality of life that my family has given me as settlers here in Nebraska. I'm here to use my privilege that I was born into to keep breaking the glass ceiling that I have already busted. In 2010, I graduated from Northeast Community College, Norfolk, with a degree in welding. I was certified in 5 different processes for structural welding and architect. When I started welding, I had sexism thrown at me. I had men tell me I could not do what I wanted to do because I was a girl and I was cute and I was little. I was told, no, you should be a nurse. You cannot weld. That is a man's job. And instead of quitting, I kept doing what I loved, being picky and finding places that would accept me for who I was. I landed at a company here in the state that I will not name. They treated me very well. They underpaid me, but I was happy. They provided benefits and great working conditions that I had to fight to improve. And because of that fight for equality, we had the things we needed to operate safely. Now I'm going to do a little self-brag since I'm on a roll. I am currently the media outreach director for the Sex Workers' Right Caucus. Now I'm going to throw a secret out there. During my 20s, I used to have cam show online. So sex work is important to me because of the stigma that comes with welding as a woman. When I was in high school, I was at a welding competition on the state level, and I had a teacher look at me and go, "Flash dance?" Now, that's not appropriate to say to a 17-year-old girl at a state welding competition. And that's why I'm here today, to make sure that those things don't happen. And with the Vermin Supreme Institute, I get to do that very thing by spreading world peace. I get to love how I want to love and teach others how to love that way just by doing it every day. Now, I've rambled on for a few minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to Vermin, because if I don't stop now, I'm never going to shut up. So back to you, Mr. Supreme.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we're so happy to have you be part of our project, for sure.
Thank you.
Indeed.
I have found my place, and I'm happy to be here.
Woohoo! Once again, we're an institute, not a cult, people. Not a cult. Very good, thank you. The beauty of this era is our ability to connect, to collaborate, and to organize at unprecedented levels due to the advent of technology. A prime example, of course, being the technology being utilized in hosting this very program. We have a path before us blazed by the women you have heard from today, and so many more from history to the present. And it is our solemn obligation to humanity to continue down that road. It is my firm belief that the works of the Vermin Supreme Institute, through the Women's History Project and the Beautiful People Initiative, which highlights in depth the actions of truly inspirational people across the country, will aid in the progression toward equity. It is my pleasure to work within the LP. And of course, it was a personal journey. It took me quite a while, many years, to ultimately join and work with the LP. And many of that was overcoming various stereotypes. And one of those stereotypes is that the LP is a sausage party and that it's not women friendly. But in my time working with the LP, I've met many, many strong libertarian women, and I've met very many supportive men. The fact remains that statistically, women make up 1/3 of libertarians, compared to liberals, which 2/3 of women are women, and the Democrats, 2/3 of which are women. And yes, I think we must ask why and how we can be more attractive and more welcoming and more supportive of women within the Liberty Movement. And I thank you for being part of that process. I am grateful, very grateful to have been given this opportunity to speak in front of you all today. And I will leave you with the words of lifelong activist, prison abolitionist, and feminist Angela Davis. You have to act as if it were possible to radically transform the world, and you have to do it all the time. Thank you. I'm Vermin Supreme. Yay! I will now be happy to take any questions from the audience with the preface of course, that I am not a pundit.
Thank you so much, Vermin, and thank you to Desiree and to Mercy. Mercy, you had me in tears, so I'd say that's a success. Vermin, for women that are interested in getting involved with either your Firebrand campaign for disruptive candidates or the Vermin Supreme Institute, can you tell women where to go, how to find you, and how to get involved, and what you need? You need help.
Yes, absolutely. Because are indeed an institute. We're a very young institute. We were starting small, but we want to expand, and we have big hopes. I mean, our dreams are super, super big, and ideally, we will be able to get to that point. And so reaching directly out to verminsupremeinstitute.org, which is the website. There is indeed a contact, a volunteer, and a donate button, all of those things. And really, any sort of skills, I believe that we can put to use, from editing newsletters to, help in audiovisual things. I mean, we have people working on it, but the more people we have with these skills, the less is put upon each individual person. Many hands lightens the load, of course. Takes a whole village to raise a child, as it were. Yes. But all of these things. So yeah, definitely feel free to reach out and follow us on the social medias. And we are doing our best to do our best, I guess. We're sort of like the like Oprah of the libertarians or something, I guess. Okay, no, okay, not really, but
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the Disrupt the Vote and the opportunity for women who are interested in running for office. Tell us a little bit more, because I think Mercy was a wonderful example of a woman who's overcome many barriers across the generations. And if women are interested in running for office, and we talked about this with Elliot earlier, it's a process. And understanding what that is, I think having an institute and the Firebrand initiative to help them is going to be tremendous.
Yes, absolutely. I guess ultimately, because we were a campaign, because we were involved in a campaign, and we were operating in the sphere of electoral politics, that is certainly what it became, and that is what it drew. And as a result of being what we were, we attracted many experienced, I guess you would call them political operatives at this. I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, but I mean we have a number of people who have extensive to a fair amount of experience in operating campaigns, in working on various campaigns, and knowing the ins and outs of the campaigns and all the various moving parts of a campaign, and so we have just a wealth of knowledge and knowledgeable people who are more than happy to share their knowledge, their experiences, to help steer you in the right direction, in the right places that you need to be, and things you need to keep an eye out for, and things that you need to be aware of, because oftentimes there's it can be a tricky process, and it's made to be a tricky process
Yes.
to minimize participation.
Yes.
So we have that. We have compiled media lists and things of that nature that are useful. If we're feeling, I'm not going to say anything about donor lists, because no, you ain't getting anywhere near the donor list. No, we charge for that shit. But everything else is totally, on the table for sure, because we want to help, and we have regular meetings of candidates taking part in the initiative, and regular chats and things of that nature. So we can be sort of this constant rolling brainstorm, and individuals who are involved in campaigns can share the ideas of what they're doing in real time, and they can bounce ideas off each other, and so yeah, I believe it's I guess that makes us a think tank or something, huh?
Well, and I'll say that this is one of the things I'm the most excited about. I started engaging with David Howman and Desiree and Angela about how can people for liberty support your initiatives. And this is something we had actually discussed among our board, that there needs to be more opportunities to train candidates and to help grow leadership skills within our movement. One of the things that I found coming in as a former Republican, I will admit that, was that I had expectations that there would be the same kind of machinery that there are in the big parties supporting candidates and supporting the movement. And what I found when I started exploring the Libertarian Party was there wasn't the same kind of machine, which was good. It meant that we could create one from the ground up and create a system and a process to support those candidates who we believe in from the ground level. So I am particularly interested in this and so excited to see how People for Liberty can support y'all in this effort, and women in politics too, of course, but this is the future, getting more women, getting more diverse voices on the ballot.
Absolutely, absolutely, of course, and we are pleased as punch and happier than a pig in mud to be involved in this effort. Yeah, no, it's the time is now. If not when, what?
Yes.
And, so yes, and of course, you know, the Vermin Supreme Institute. You know, I guess yes, we do similar things to what is also being done by similar projects, but nonetheless, we have the
Still
secret
different.
Vermin stuff. We get to add a little bit of that secret Vermin sauce, and you know, ideally, if we can, you know, we like to bring in the humor. One of our candidates, Adam Carbone, up in Cranston, Rhode Island, was taking part in a debate this evening, in which he was showing up in a hot dog costume. He was dressed as a Frankfurt, and once again, let me assure you. That is something that you don't have to, you know, that we don't even encourage that. However, if that is a route that you want to take, we will support you in that and give you, you know, wacky, crazy ideas. But if you want to run a more serious campaign, yes, absolutely. We want to work with it within your comfort level. I mean, just say, you know, wackiness is simply one tool in our toolbox for those who believe that it might be useful in their particular circumstances.
So Colin, do we have, I know we've had a lot of really positive comments and feedback on the live chat. Would you like to share some of those comments and maybe go through any questions for Vermin?
Yeah, well, as you know, the stream went down very briefly for about like 5 minutes, and we lost a lot of our comments and things there. So I apologize for that. But Vermin,
Right.
do you feel at home
should
here?
Should I redo that 5 minutes?
Don't worry, I got it on video. You're good.
Oh, okay, thank you.
We're okay. Do you feel at home here in the Libertarian Party, Vermin?
As any political party I had ever been involved with, and ultimately that was not many. You know, when I ran as a Democrat, I wasn't a Democrat. When I was a Republican, I wasn't that. But ultimately, yes, I believe that I've found a wonderful group of people who are working towards a positive social change, and they have been more open than not to my message, and perhaps even to my messaging. I believe and feel a great level of love and support, you know, from most members of the party. And, you know, and once again, I fully understand why I did not become the nominee, and people's reservations along those lines. But even in people who were opposed to me in that capacity, you know, I feel their respect and love and all that good stuff. Good vibes.
Well, how do you feel towards Dr. Jorgensen as our candidate right now?
Well, as you know, Joe Jorgensen is indeed my sworn arch enemy, and has been since the debates. And ultimately, I think I can speak for all the candidates during the year of campaigning, that we all became vicious and bitter rivals of one another. And so, yes, I am a very petty and vindictive man, and I simply cannot let go of certain things that made me feel slighted. Thank you. I'm Vermin Supreme. Go Joe! Go Joe! Let her speak! Let her speak! Let her speak! I just hope she gets Ben Shapiro going about WAP. That's all I'm saying. I sure hope she does.
Colin, do we have other questions or comments or feedback?
Let's see. Most people really like just how random and diverse it seems that your support team is, Vermin, the Team Supreme. But is it really random when you're bringing all these different people together?
Oh, goodness. Well, I apparently uniter, not a divider in some fashion. But yes, our campaign really did bring in people from the left-right spectrum within the party. And once again, that's one of those things that I was one of those, for those of viewers who may not be of libertarian persuasion, rest assured, the Libertarian Party is not a right-leaning monolith. No, it has its own internal left-right dynamic. And that was one of the stereotypes and one of the things that I had to finally understand before I was like, oh, okay, maybe there's some room. So yeah, that was a very, very interesting revelation. And so yeah.
And one last thing here is that you've run for office now probably more than everybody else on this call combined for various things. What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to jump in and make their name that doesn't necessarily want to wear a boot on their head or carry around a giant toothbrush?
Sure. And I think, I ultimately, for the past 30 years, yes, I've been running a campaign of sorts, but ultimately it wasn't a real campaign. The goals were, very, very different. Votes were not important. Funding was not terribly important. It was, this last election year, I raised more money in this one year than I had raised and spent on every other election during the 30 years combined. So it was just a very, I'm sort of a newbie as a real politician goes. And even then it's hard to say, but, I would tell people that, number one, yes, you must put yourself out there to run. If that involves stepping outside of your comfort zone, so be it. It's a good experience to do so. I hear many libertarians very much promote the Toastmasters speaking program. I think I would recommend that too, although I've not participated. It sounds like a really good way to start to practice speechifying and being a communicator, because that's number one thing that you are as a politician or a wannabe politician is communicating your ideas and your visions and trying to convince people. So there's certainly salesmanship involved. So you want to understand just sort of logic, how arguments work, because if you're going to be putting yourself out there and representing a particular position, you want to be doing so in an effective manner and fashion. You want to do your beliefs justice, and you want to be able to back them up. So we want to try and be as well versed as you can be on the issues that you believe that are important to you, number one, and that you believe that you will be encountering as a politician. Of course, there's certainly many one-issue candidates out there. They get into a race because they see something. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute! Like, we got to change that, and that becomes their focus. And so whatever brings you into politics, I think you sort of have to, tailor what your motivation is, and work it with what your expectations are, and what level you want to play, and how you hope, and defining the success of your goals in a way other than whether you win your race or not. I think that's a very important thing. You cannot possibly say you have won or lost depending on the election results. You are in it for a very different part of the game. You are here to change hearts and minds, to create ripples, to make people consider things, and perhaps be brought over into your viewpoint, or perhaps you theirs. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So I guess those are a few things. And another. And here's a very important one. Don't spend more than you can afford to spend. That is a very, very important. Do not spend yourself into the poor. I have met fringe candidates on the campaign trail who have sold their house and spent every freaking penny on a campaign, and it just breaks my heart. I am very lucky. You know, for many years it was out of pocket, but it was very minimal, and I could afford it. Luckily, I mean, now people give me money to do it. So you know, don't spend more than you can afford to spend on it.
I think those are really good points. And Vermin, I love that you brought it back to changing minds and changing hearts and really leading with love, which we've talked about, you know, the benefits of the liberty movement, but the practical considerations as well. And I'll say, this is why I'm a fundraiser. And this is why People for Liberty is both a 501c4 and a super PAC, because we recognize that funds are necessary in order to conduct an efficient campaign. That being said, you can't do it without the people behind you. You can't do it without those hearts and those minds. And that's why we started with the nonprofit. And I love that there's alignment there, and that you saw the same after 30 years of interacting with people and engaging with people. You came to determine this is what was needed most. You needed an opportunity to reach those minds and hearts even further.
Indeed. I mean, you know, I believe that, you know, once again, my campaign was 1 week at the New Hampshire primary. My campaign, 1 week at the New Hampshire primaries, a week or two at the two conventions, and maybe a week at the inauguration. You know, 4 weeks out of a year, every 4 years. You know, it might cost me $3,000, $1,000 to get on the ballot of New Hampshire, $1,000 for bumper stickers, $1,000 for gasoline. And yet, just, you know, that very minimal investment of time and money just brought me to a certain level of notoriety, indeed. But it was a level that I could only have brought it to that point, you know, and I believe that I brought it to that point. And in my whole journey, career, if you will, has always been, you know, in some direction. And I guess it, you know, in certain things that make sense happen. And this particular chapter, once again, just a very organic, natural extension of everything that I've been doing for so many years.
I love it. Well, Vermin, any last words or shout outs? We've loved having you and Desiree and Mercy and your entire team. We got to see family members. It's been super fun. Any last words for our audience?
Indeed. Well, I just wanted to thank you also very, very much for participating in today's events, and believe that we can do it. We can do it together. You are the power.
Thanks, Vermin. And thank you to everyone who's joined us. It has been a wonderful day. It has been a long day, but I am so thrilled to have you all. So have a wonderful night. Say prayers for those of us here in Houston on the Gulf Coast. Catch up with Vermin online and check us out at People for Liberty, peopleforliberty.org. Thanks, y'all.
And also make sure you subscribe to this channel so that it can continue to grow. So.